Hello and welcome to, let me hit record here on my little mic. So hello and welcome to the story behind my Flourish Your Beauty life and the podcast that followed it. Because I feel like the story is, whenever I share a story, for me, it's not about me, but it is about you and your own discoveries within it and the path that can guide you as well. So it is you being reflected in the story that I will be sharing. So I'm going to give it a moment to see who all will be coming in here with me live. So first of all, whoever will be watching the replay later, please go ahead and say replay and follow along and let me know how you're doing. Check in with us here. And also any questions that might come up and any revelations, any insights that you might be receiving from this. Because for me, the most important thing is always that whatever I'm sharing and giving, that there are inspirations, activations, ahas for you that you can take into the world with you, into your life, and that will help elevate you and your space. So again, this is always my purpose with anything that I do. So whoever is here, please go ahead and say hi. And I'm going to go ahead and start lighting my candle. Okay, so taking a moment, if you have a candle, then go ahead and light your candle as well together with me. Always allowing the time and space for energy that we activate to complete, because this is always the most important aspect of anything and everything that we do, because this is the essence of energy work, to always honor the creation, let it come to its full cycle of completion. So new cycles can also be activated, new fractals. I spoke about this in a different way this morning on my Flourish Your Beauty Inner Sanctum, my private audio transmissions. And it was a really beautiful way of segueing into what I'm going to be opening today. So hi to any of you who are here live with me today. And again, if you want to check in, please go ahead and say hi. All right. So, in case you don't know me, my name is Silke, and I'm a master hypnotherapist, master healer, leading spiritual teacher, and mentor to women in fully expressed and soul aligned living. And I am the founder of the Flourish Your Beauty movement for women, in order for you to fully express yourself, to find your voice in the world, to find your unique gifts that you're here to express through the energy of your soul path, and for you to become self-actualized. And this is a devotional path at this point for all of us, because we can all feel this quickening of shifts and changes that are taking place, and the difference in activations that have kind of come in for many of us. Oh, Cindy, hi. Oh, so good that you're here with me. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just take a moment and hold our candle and connect in together. This time, this space, letting us meet here through space time, continuing for whenever you're tapping into this here, knowing that the frequency that's being transmitted here will land anytime, any place. Okay. And then this is not a meditation. This is a story I'll be sharing today. So with this also, though, it is still helpful for us to just take a moment and tune into our center, into our soul center. So clapping your hands for a moment, rubbing your hands, opening your space up like a W, feeling yourself grounded, connected to earth, feeling yourself grounded and connected into the field that we are creating together. Bringing your hands together in the Gasho position, which is the prayer position in front of your heart, your high heart. Tuning in to that singular moment of connection in your fingers, the singular connection rising up through your feet from Mother Earth, and the singular connection with the higher frequencies through divinity. And then bringing your hands over the area of your high heart and connecting in with your soul space, your soul center. Yes, this always sets the energy of what we're doing, and you can bring your hands down if you like and keep your eyes open, close your eyes. Like I said, this is story time. So I'm going to share the story behind my Facebook Lives and the podcast. Because for me, the moment that I stopped doing anything because it needed to get done, and I shifted and placed myself into the energetic frequency of creation instead, that's when everything began to shift for me. And my Flourish Your Beauty movement was born many, many years ago on a time before anything was still palpable, before I knew what this all was going to emerge into and going to be about. And I had created my Flourish Your Beauty movement, and it was still kind of in the beginning stages for quite a while, until a Sunday morning where I woke up and the rays of the sun were coming into the window. And I felt this rush of energy. And the best way I can describe it was this beautiful feminine energy of grace that just kind of poured into me. And I could call it the sacred feminine or give it many definitions or words, but I feel like it would still cut it short to what this was. Because in that moment, she downloaded these pictures and all of this sharing to me of what I was meant to put into the world and what this whole big creation was going to become. And honestly, at that time, it still felt very big, and it almost felt like I could not attain this just because it was so much at the time. And I'm just one person. And then I received it, and I knew, okay, this was the space eventually that I was going to hold for many women. And it was a worldwide space. And it wasn't just me alone. I knew that many of us would come together and share in it and connect in it. Many of us that are hearing this call for these activations, many of us that can feel like there's something shifting, something changing, and it's like we're being activated into these new frequencies and into the sisterhood of coming together. And now I can see how slowly, with every person that is coming to me and telling me, yes, I'm on board, yes, we're doing this together, I can just feel the love and I can feel the connection that we're all sharing together, and how it all will come into being without me knowing 100% and without me having to have it figured out on my own, because I know it's all within that divine guidance and these higher energies. And for me, there was still quite a bit of releasing that I needed to do, especially in end of 2021, 2022, where I could tell there were still dark nights of my soul, of fears that I was still holding on to toward the future or toward the present, of things in my life, things that had taken place over the last several years, and things that I still felt like once I shifted through those and I released any kind of fear or any attachments, anything that I was still holding to any beliefs or to anything at all, really, that's when that freeing energy began and the liberation started setting me free, knowing that I could be on this journey and leading and sharing and being with you together. And that's when it all began. So 2022 was a beautiful time for me, for new information, for new activations, and just a beautiful, calm space of healing, of growing in myself, of deep introspection, to where I landed in a place where I felt so solid and feel so solid within my beingness, knowing that as I am stepping up into this higher elevation now, that I was going to be ready for it, for this much bigger capacity and this much bigger space that I needed to be ready to hold. And so I can see now in retrospect how all of this had come together for this opening of this journey, as we're always being guided and always right place, right time, always in divine timing of knowing when it's right for us and when we're ready for this. And then there begins the journey, because starting February 18th, this is when a new opening began to take place. So this first part of the journey happened February 18th during Mahashivratri. And there was literally this shift in energy that I could feel because I fully immersed myself into this day. And I could tell and feel how through some of the things that happened that morning, I was shifting out of still some older patterns. And it was almost like a last little bit of clearing before shifting into this new higher space and frequency. And then I knew that Sadhguru always puts on this big show of like 8 hours or even more. And I tuned in to it that afternoon. And when I sat there, and about 4 hours in, he stood up on stage, and he was talking about, he called it this pandemic, and he called it a mental pandemic. He called it a mental crisis, mental pandemic, where so many are in deep depression, so many need medication, even young people that should not even be in this kind of way at all, and how this is so needed at this point to shake ourselves out of it and bring ourselves back into some kind of equilibrium and bring ourselves back into a space of joy and uplifting in order to survive, in order to thrive, in order for us as a humanity to be in a space that we should always naturally hold. And he was talking about, studies as far as the profound positive aspects of meditation and yoga, and the profound effects of the I have to pronounce it right here, endocannabinoid system, producing the natural states of well-being in all forms and shapes through all the systems, basically, and then the well-being bringing us back into a space of homeostasis. And for me, when I heard this, I knew that they were doing their part. But I also realized this as a call to me that was so loud in that moment, of basically that idea that even though that is what he is doing, and even though there are so many who are doing amazing things, it does not take away from each of us uniquely of what we're here to do. And that we want to step it up as well. And so for me, that call was almost like this divine call in that moment again, of saying, okay, you've been prepared. This is now where it all begins. This is where that journey officially starts, even though you've been preparing for the past 5 years and you've been on this journey in this online space. Now is where it's all getting activated. And you needed this time for preparation. And for me, I could hear that call so clear and so loud, and there was no more stopping it. So literally within that same day, I started scheduling the first Facebook Live, knowing my part that I needed to do to show up. And within 12 minutes of shifting, changing, moving energy, of either through what I'm doing right now, speaking to you as there are new activations in this for you as well, or during meditation, where we're spending 12 minutes in a state of high frequency, the shifts and changes that we can invoke within ourselves and then emanate out into the world are just tremendous. And that Monday, so this was Saturday, and then that Monday is when I did my first Facebook Live. You can go back and listen to it and hear all about it and how this story began from that moment forward. And then February 20th, new moon, a beginning, is when it all began. And then there was February 27th. And for all of you who are in my inner sanctum, who listen to my inner sanctum audio transmission, my private podcast for women, you kind of were with me through that whole story this whole time, because on February 27th, something happened with my husband, with his heartbeat. And there was something where we knew, okay, what do I need to do here as this emergency in this moment? And the first thing that came to me was coherence. Because I had known about it, I had learned about it for many years, and I knew that when we bring ourselves and our systems into coherence with each other, this is where everything can align again. And so my instinct as I was driving him to the emergency room was to allow that state of coherence to take place between my heartbeat and his heartbeat. And it is all about finding that resonance between each other. And once that took place in that moment, and there's another word that's also entrainment. So it is the entrainment of different systems, of linking up. And everything wants to find coherence. Everything wants to line up. Everything wants to build coherence out of a state of chaos. Everything wants to come into harmony. That's how we're designed. That's how everything here in the universe, in this matrix, is designed. And we got to the emergency room. They went to see him. And by the time they hooked him up to the machines, everything was completely cleared and fine. And they sent him back on his way. And for me, it was so profound to know that us bringing ourselves into the state, besides me doing energy work on him, of course, as well, too. But just that moment of let's align our heartbeat. And the profoundness of that, it was just so beautiful to recognize, to see, and that remembrance for me of the importance of that. And it all, like I said, kind of aligned, because then beginning of March, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he reminded me of the idea that when one person resonates and vibrates on a higher frequency, they naturally help align so many others as well. It brings it into a natural balance. It's a counterbalance that is being created within that. And he didn't have like the exact information, but for me, it was like, oh my gosh, right back here on my shelf, I have the book Power versus Force, which I had read many, many years ago. And in that moment, I remembered, wait a minute, there were all of these statistics in here that they had done back then on when somebody is in a certain frequency, the counterbalancing that takes place. And from the book, what he shares like the levels from 20 all the way up to 1,000. And most people at that time, when he did the studies, I think if I remember right, it was like 2008-ish or so, there were, I don't remember like how many percent, but most people were vibrating on a level of about 200. And 310 is like that minimum where we're in a state of hopefulness, of optimism, of intention, and kind of setting that stage for coming into these higher frequencies. And if someone vibrates at a level of 300, 310, they can counterbalance 90,000 people at a level under 200. So just imagine us all, you, me, everyone listening to this, who will be listening later, who will resonate with this information, who can feel and understand the importance of what we're here to do at this time, what our soul came in for. Just imagine if all of us raise our vibration. And that's what we're doing in these 12 minutes when we come together, where we're lifting and vibrating at a much higher level. Because throughout our lives, throughout our days, it can vary so much. And overall, of course, we always want to bring ourselves into the highest states where it becomes easier and easier to hold that space. And for these 12 minutes, when we come together, this is where we can purposely set that intention for that. So imagine when you can raise your levels of vibration during that time. Imagine what impact that has on the world, on humanity, on every living being. Just imagine how beautiful it is when we come together and when we shift and change this. There's also the concept of the morphic field, of the 100th monkey effect, which had been debunked, and then there's been new studies and new ideas and new concepts. But we kind of know that when enough of us gather and come together, again, there's that coherence and that resonance that's being created in a powerful field that aligns and shifts and is being activated, that can move and shift everyone else and automatically begin to turn on the lights and raise everything into a beautiful higher state. And this is what we're here to do, moving forward, moving through these times that we can all feel that will become challenging, but yet when we can hold ourselves in these higher frequencies, in these levels, this is what we're here for, to help usher in these new paradigms, these new energies of something really beautiful and amazing that we can do together. So this was the story of the lives. And then the next thing that came in was my connection with my friend Jane, who I had known for many years. And I knew that she was helping women with their podcasts. And after doing several lives like this one here today, I realized that it would be so beautiful, that it was time for a public podcast. And it was time for it all to come together now, where we could create beautiful music behind the meditations that I do, where we can help so many by being able to listen to the podcast and be having it accessible for everyone in an easy format. And I contacted Jane, and that was, I think it was like beginning of April or a little bit earlier. And when she had something coming up from Facebook that was just so amazing, because on April 14th, she had a Facebook post pop up where I actually appeared on her podcast and where we talked about Reiki, and at the time actually coming to Japan, which didn't pin out because she had to move right shortly after. But it was that intention setting that we were going to create something together. And then fast forward, so this was April 13th, 2019. And then fast forward now to April 13th, 2019. I think I did say that right. And then we started the podcast on April 17th, 2023. So the amazing thing is that we never know with any connections, any little movements, any little things along the path, how it all evolves, what all those parts are of those greater design, and how it all so beautifully aligns and comes together, and what is already laid out for us in this divine, beautiful plan. So this is now where everything comes together with me, with you, with each of us uniquely, because we're all here together, guided every step of the way, as we're leading ourselves, as we're leading each other, as we're connecting and supporting each other on this path of devotion. Because for me at this point, it is purely devotional, that this is the most meaningful thing that I know at this time, this space, because I have the room for it in my life now, that this is the most important thing to do, ushering in these new paradigms, this new beautiful world that I know we're capable of bringing in. And it takes each of us and all of us together. It can't be done in isolation, and it does take the coherence, and it does take the connection, and it does take each one of you uniquely for what you are here to do within your families, and then also within your work, within the greater picture of everything. So always remember that you are so needed, that it can't be done without you, and don't underestimate it, because you're here for this higher purpose. You came in for it. And this is also that call for you to recognize this within yourself, because we are shifting and changing into these times. So some say that this is the end of the Kali Yuga. Some say that there is still a long ways before it is the end of the Kali Yuga. But the Kali Yuga is still this time of upheaval, of so many shifts and changes before we move into a space of Sat Yoga, of truth. And this is the space that I am already holding, and this is the space that I'm leading. And when you think about, I spoke about this on my Inner Sanctum the other day, when you think about the idea that we have moved out of the Piscean age and we've now moved into the age of Aquarius, still in the very early stages at this point. And starting next year, officially, this is when this is when Pluto is going to enter Aquarius for the next 20 years, so 2024 until 2044. Pluto, of course, is this planet of upheaval, of endings, of beginnings, of big shifts and changes, of new paradigms that are being formed. This is the time now for us to recognize the importance of what we are doing and what we're all here. So it is really about thinking no longer in linear terms, but thinking about everything that we're doing in a space of multi-dimensionality. And my question to you is, in this dream that we're all collectively dreaming within this matrix, how do we want things to go? How do we want to feel through it all? What are you here uniquely to do in the soul level? What kind of future do we want to create for ourselves, for those yet to come, for the future generations, for our children, for the world? And how do we want to usher it all in together? And what are you ready for? These, I feel like, are the most important points that we can ask ourselves, besides the daily things that we all have going on in our lives, sometimes as they can be distracting, other times. Also, again, with this guidance in place and with always remembering that everything has its relevance and there's meaning to everything. So this is where this story ends and begins. And as we're entering this new fractal, especially on a day like this, where everything aligns now, where we're moving out of the old and moving into the new in this beautiful week that we have this week of a feeling of lightness now. And as we're entering this new stage. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for a moment and check in with all of you, see what your feelings are, see how this is all resonating with you. And I'm also going to go ahead and catch up with your comments for a moment. So Cindy, Bliss, Brittany, hi. Oh, welcome. Jen, Facebook told me 11:30. God, this very good. So Jen, the reason why you saw 11:30, by the way, is because I'm doing the Beauty Flourishing live at 11:30. So in another 2.5 minutes, so we might be a couple minutes late to the Beauty Flourishing live. But yeah, this will be coming right after this one here. And oh, yes, I love that so much. Exactly. Yeah, this is really it, such a powerful thing we can do. Absolutely. And like I said, we've been prepared for it. And oh, so glad you could make it, Rachel. I love you ladies so much. Thank you for being here with me. And I'm going to give it one more moment to see if there's anything else that you feel you want to share. Sit with these questions. I'm going to go ahead and be sure to add them to this here too, and also create a new post for these questions in our Flourish Your Beauty group. And for all of you who are in my Beauty Flourishing Collective, I'll see you in a moment. We're going to dive deeper, and we're also going to dive into some of the things that I want to share with you inside my collective. So I think that's it. Okay, so with this, I'm going to go ahead and close the space. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my candle, extinguish the candle. Okay, let's do that for a moment. Okay. Let me check in here. The answer to what are we creating? Aim to feel empowered, nourished, harmonious. Absolutely. This is so beautiful. Thank you. Oh, so good, Cindy. Thank you for being here with me really since the beginning. It's so amazing to have you with me on this journey. Have all of you beautiful ladies here with me on this journey. Like I said, we can't do this in isolation or by ourselves. And so I treasure each and every one of you, also each and every one of you who will be tuning in later. Oh, and with this, I'm going to close this for today. I wish you so many blessings with this. May these words land. May they resonate within you. May they activate new energies, new beautiful openings, and beautiful blossoming for you. Beauty flourishing. Namaste.